2, 3, 4.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
We're everything but rooftops here, pretty much, except really brownfields, which is our next session. Brownfields could be everything. And so if you do have a traditional brownfield redevelopment project of some kind on your property, dealing with vertical development, and you've got solar panels on top, it very well might qualify for the Brightfield points in the US EPA Brownfield program. But I'm stealing the thunder from our Brownfield stars representing the states of Virginia and our national government.
The fundamentals of Brownfields 101. So, you know, some of the takeaway points are going to be, what is a brownfields? Please write down my contact information that's at the end of my slide presentation, and also Vince's. And if you have questions, reach out to us, give us a call, and let us help you walk through a brownfields issues that you might have on a site. And you're going to find this is going to be a theme through today, particularly for our work. When you run into situations on properties, you know, it's best to talk it out and try to figure out what are the issues there and how to work through them. Realize that these issues can be fixed, and that using a brownfield for alternative energy, as we've already talked about, is an excellent choice due to low potential exposure from contaminants, due to zoning, and a variety of other issues that we've got out there. What is a brownfield? And this is the definition from the Virginia State Code, but it's very similar on the federal level and also similar in other states. And it's real property, the expansion, redevelopment, or reuse, which might be complicated by the presence or potential presence of a hazardous substance, pollutant, or contaminant. So you can see that even the fact that you might have something out there can qualify it as a brownfields. And this includes industrial sites, landfills, previously mined lands, which are all very applicable to solar redevelopments, as well as Main Street buildings, some railroad lines, and so many other sites out there. Virginia in 2002 adopted a brownfields restoration and land renewal policy and programs. And this is something Virginia doesn't do for that many programs out there. There's only a few policies in the environmental arena, and this is one of them. And it should be our policy to encourage remediation and restoration of brownfields by removing barriers and providing incentives and assistance whenever possible. And this is what we try to do at DEQ. And we work very closely with Economic Development Partnership and other agencies too, to establish policies and programs to implement these policies, such as the Voluntary Remediation Program, which we're going to talk about, Brownfields Restoration and Redevelopment Fund, which we'll touch on also. And we've already heard just a little bit about that. So next slide, please. Looking at brownfields from another angle, it's really environmental cleanup and economic development added up equal. These two go together to revitalize property, whether it's a solar field or whether it's a town in your Main Street area. Why would you want to go into the voluntary remediation program and work with brownfields? Well, it helps you understand these environmental conditions out there. It helps you to resolve environmental concerns out there and legacy issues that have been there and have put a stigma on the property itself. Often you have lenders that don't want to lend on these properties because of the environmental concerns. You have neighborhoods that are concerned, and you have liability when you do buy them. But with the appropriate steps, you can reduce that liability for the purchase of that property and the ownership of it, and for the resale of it. Engaging with the Brownfields program, and it helps to promote community engagement. We've talked about that earlier today. And also the possibility of state and federal grants, and not taking the right steps as you walk through property purchases can preclude you from getting grants, particularly the grants that are eligible to local governments And you're going to hear more about those grants later. And there's a link to our web pages. Virginia also passed a very popular tax exemption in 1997. And it's been underutilized, I'd say, by local government. But for sites that are enrolled in the voluntary remediation program, they can be considered a separate class of property, and the taxes, the real estate taxes, can actually be frozen on those properties for up to 5 years. So that if you had $1 million piece of property, you could freeze that tax at $1 million. You could redo and redevelop the building itself, and the local government would only tax you on that first $1 million to offset the cleanup costs that would go with redeveloping that old factory site. We've seen it used very successfully in a few counties out there. Rockbridge probably did one of the best examples of implementing this policy and getting a tax delinquent piece of property back on the tax rolls and reused. So you renew that on a yearly basis for 5 years. EPA does have different types of assistance out there. The targeted brownfields assessment, you're going to hear a little bit about this, but this is another powerful tool from the EPA to get assessments done in communities out there. TAB assistance, you have TBA assistance and TAB, acronyms all the way, but this is done through New Jersey Institute of Technology. Gary White's going to be with us a little bit later to talk about that. And we work closely with those folks too. Thank you. Next slide. We're committed to getting these brownfields redeveloped, whether it's a solar field or a community or a Main Street property, to get them back into use. We offer brownfields individualized outreach to communities where we'll come out and talk to you about how to position the site for redevelopment and reuse. And, we just flat out enjoy doing this. We want to help coordinate and work through regulatory issues and help you get an understanding of what needs to be done out there. Engage us early. It makes a lot more sense to work through problems early on than to call us at the last minute when there's a closing next week or tomorrow and trying to solve a problem that it took decades to manifest. So get with us, we engage with EPA. Patricia and her team are great people. Region 3, we work very closely with. As Patricia mentioned, we get some really great grants from EPA. 3 different types is what Virginia has tapped into, and it's been a powerful tool, as you can see, that we've coupled with the VBAF grant. So, the old solar technology was clothespins. We're really jumping light years ahead, so stay tuned. You're really going to find some interesting information over the next couple of days. And the next slide is contact information, and I'll let Patricia take it over because she's got some really good information on the EPA and some of their programs. And I really appreciate Patricia joining us. It's always great to get OBLR. I've worked closely with them over the years, and it's a stellar team up there. Thank you.
Thanks, Meade. A lot to throw at you, like we talked about money and it's funding, it's available, and but remember the EPA Brownfields program, our grant cycle basically starts in September, but please don't wait till September to, you're thinking about it now. Look at our grant guidelines for this year. We don't change our grant guidelines very much from year to year, so get an idea of what you will have to do to apply for a grant now, and if it seems overwhelming, call me, call your TAB grantee. Call your Brownfields coordinator at Region 3, Michael Torino. He's available. So we're all available to help you out and take advantage of all the resources that we have. We'll be posting updates on our website at www.epa.gov/brownfields. Next slide is our next slide. That's just our contact information. Remember, as Meade says, if you have questions, you need help, come to us, talk to us, call your TAB provider, call me, and we're here to help. So Brownfield Solar, the future is bright.
Perfect, Patricia. Thank you so much. You even stole my teases. How did you do that?
I've never worked with you before. I don't know how.
Yeah, Brownfields. We haven't been smashing our heads against the wall with Meade as well, but both of you, terrific presentations, and I hope everyone can tell how seasoned these redevelopment stars are. They know these programs inside and out. And let me just say, as a national practitioner, and underscoring something that Patricia said, that Virginia does have some of the best people. We've got great programs, that's what we're talking about, and those are easier to replicate, but getting to know the really good people that the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth has plugged in at DEQ, at DMME, all through. I don't know how they're doing it, but the difference is stark. And Meade is of course one of their leading stars. But also, if you're hearing about all this Brownfield stuff for the first time and it sounds too good to be true, I promise it's not. Patricia said maybe the quote of the morning, Congress had an epiphany. And we're just fortunate that Brownfields has been one of these places where Republicans, Democrats, everyone understands the need for kind of public sector involvement and the focus on these local level projects. It's kind of the perfect thing. And the way that these programs are organized, they're very structural. There's objective criteria. They're ranked, as Patricia was saying. You know, you can't fake the funk on these projects. You got to come strong. If you're not a nerd like me, you better have a nerd on your team, and that's how we're able to raise the minimum. You know, get people really thinking about these issues as they apply for their grants right from the start, and then follow through.
Don't wait till the last minute, because it's a competitive program. We only about a third of the folks that apply for grants each year actually get grants, and basically, the better prepared you are, the more of a chance that you have. So be prepared and ask questions.
Be prepared, ask questions. It's the perfect place I wanted to leave it. It's, as Meade said, the closing table is not the place for these kind of big reveals. And it's really a nice underscore to the entire morning. I've been all sunshine and unicorns, but this is sophisticated stuff. We know how to do it. We have the tools, we have the programs, we have best practices, but you actually have to do the work, and you have to start early for all kinds of reasons. Engage your community early, start your diligence early, start asking questions early, start exploring variable programs early. And who can help you? Call Gary White at NJIT. He will answer your questions for free. Thank you, Congress. But you got to do it early. You really can't turn in your assignments late on this stuff, because it is a boom. It is a renaissance. These are competitive programs. As Patricia just said, the EPA Brownfield program is so successful, it's 300% overscribed on average. And as Virginia starts to build a parallel program on the Brightfield side for DMME to administer, I'm sure, this is me forecasting, that program will be oversubscribed in its first round and probably ever after. So we got to get to work. We got to get to work now, and we already are. If you're still watching us right now, you're in the Army, and the Renaissance is growing. We're going to be distributing all the materials that you need to go home and start your homework next week in the big knowledge binder. Keep asking those questions. We're over time. We're going to take a hard break now. We're going to stop the stream so you can eat and replenish yourselves. Do a lap around the block. Call somebody, whatever you need to do. We're going to come back. Patricia stole my tease, but we're coming back with even more great government programs and available resources that are available online for free. A partnership between EPA and DOE, which again, somehow our government was thinking ahead in this space and has been working for years with great professionals attached to nurture this renaissance. And with that, I'll wrap. We'll come back at the top of the hour, and thank you. The future is very bright.
Thank you.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.